Last time we started bees, and I gave you a quick rundown. I say quick, it was a 30-minute video. I gave you a rundown on how bees actually work, how they are bred, how some of them have unique ways of getting them, and even some gene stuff. But all this has been leading up to getting this little bee right here, the time bee. Why are we focusing on the time bee? Because when we get its time comb, whether it be the single variation or the blocked variation, we get time fluid and time crystals. Meaning our time wand can run infinitely and without having to do the painful process of converting water into polymorphic fluid and then turning that polymorphic fluid into time fluid using the time crystals, which aren't easy to get in themselves. But I've gone through that in a whole other video. If you don't know how to get the time crystals, then go back a couple of episodes in the All Mods 10 series and you'll find it. So, what's happened since last time? Well, I have gone ahead and automated all the bees in this chest right here that do give us an output, which I'll be honest, isn't very many of them. The endstone one, the draconic ones we already have. We've automated those quite a while ago. Done the ghostly bee, the gold bee, magmatic bee, and the glowing bee with the crystalline bee. I think we did the glowing bee in the last episode because we needed it to get to unobtainium. And all the processes are virtually the same apart from this gold one right here. Because when this gold one has finished doing the process, gives us the comb blocks, they then get taken out by this modular router, sent into this heated centrifuge. Now the output from the heated centrifuge is actually raw gold ore. And that's not what we want. We don't want that. We want them straight into ingots. So instead of getting pulled out by this modular router and getting sent to this ender chest, going back to the system, it's getting pulled out of the heated centrifuge, the raw gold ore, put into this unobtainium furnace, which is then getting pulled out gold ingots and throwing it into this ender chest, going into the system, meaning we have automated gold. Now, most of the ore ones are like this, so we are going to have to set this up a little bit. So that iron one will give us raw iron, etc, etc. So we're going to have to do the same thing with those ones, but I don't mind that. And what I have gone ahead and done for the time bee is I've gone ahead and made the time crystal blocks and the time fluid for the time bee, and now I want 5 of these bees. The reason being we want 5 is to fill up this whole beehive right here. It has 5 slots. I want to be able to fill those with the time bees. So to get the actual time bee itself, we actually need to craft its spawn egg. And the recipe is as follows. The time crystal blocks, which I already have, and the time fluid bucket, which I already have as well. What we don't have is the Celestigem bee spawn egg, the Eclipse alloy bee spawn egg, and the Skulk bee spawn egg as well. We can get the draconic bee spawn egg fairly simply. That'll be fine. And I think that'll be the one we take off first. So we go grab our draconic bees from here. We head on over to the bee breeding station. Now to breed these 2 draconic bees, we are going to have to use some of these draconic dust, which we have got loads of. We have over 500,000. So let's breed these bees. We have to grow them up as well. And now we need to extract the gene samples from these bees, which if we bring it over to the bottler with glass bottles in it and a piston, we sort of set this up last time. Once the bees are adults, we then put them in, activate the thing, activate the piston, it'll crush it down. We'll get this squashed bee material. We then have to put that in the powered centrifuge, which will then give us the gene sample of draconic bee, with also some of the other gene samples that it has as well, which we can see what gene samples it has with the productivity, weather tolerance, behavior, endurance, temper, that kind of stuff. So now to do that until we have 5 bee spawn eggs. I'll show you how to get the bee spawn eggs as well. So I have 3 gene samples, and the way we turn them into eggs is we grab some eggs and we're going to need some honey treats. We're going to combine those gene samples with the honey treats. Now, one thing I will say is they are a percentage chance of working. They're not going to work 100% of the time unless the percentage next to it is 100%. And then we want to come to the baby incubator, put in the eggs on the left hand slot of the arrow. We're then going to put in our genes underneath the arrow, and hopefully once it's finished combining the gene to the egg, you should get the spawn egg. We got pretty lucky here, we got all 3. So now that I have all 5 draconic bees, the next easiest bee would be the skulk bee, because the way we get the skulk bee is by simply getting a digger bee and feeding it some skulk. Now, this does only have a 30% chance of working, and I also want to get 5 of these bees to automate as well. So I'll quickly show you how to get one of those, and then I'll go ahead and do pretty much the exact same process with the draconic bee. So I have the digger bee over there and there. We then need to get some skulk ready, and because we're done with the draconic bees, they can come out. The digger bees can go in, and they require any poppies, or any flowers should I say. And then with these, of course they're children, we need to grow them up, and then we simply just spawn them in, feed them, keep feeding until it turns into a skulk bee, and that would be one of our bees that we could automate. We can do the exact same thing, keep feeding until we get another one. Now the skulk bee is a very good bee to get because it does actually give you echo shards at a 30% chance, and you need those for the simple fact Omega upgrades uses echo shards. So if you could automate these, that would be brilliant. Hence the reason we want 5 of them. And just like that, we have 5 of the bees. So I'm going to store them away, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a couple more of these bees together and get the gene samples ready to go, and I'll come back with you and we'll get the spawn egg. And our last skulk bee. Boom. So there's only 2 bees left that we need to get for this time bee, and that is the Celestigem bee and the Eclipse bee. The first one we're going to work on is the Celestigem bee. Now we need 10 of these, but I also want to automate these, so really gonna need 15. And the way we get these bees is by feeding a diamond bee a void shimmer goo. So if we get ourselves a void shimmer goo, we put our diamond bees in, we get a baby diamond bee, we then grow it up, we then place her down and feed it the void shimmer goo, and there we have ourselves a Celestigem bee. And I'll have to do that probably about 20 times. Don't worry, I've already gone ahead and made some of the Celestigem bees and already made some of the Eclipse bees. Now, how do you make the Eclipse bees? I will show you right now. So, just like we have to feed the Celestigem some void shimmer goo, we have to feed Shadow Pulse goo to an ancient bee. So if we quickly just get one of those, breed our ancient bee to get a baby one, we then have to grow it up, grab our goo, free the bee, feed the bee, pick the bee back up. Just like that, we have ourselves an Eclipse Alloy bee and a Celestigem bee. Now I've got to go and do this a hell of a lot more times just to get the bees that we're looking for. But of course, I want to keep 5 of each of these bees to automate in the future. I'll be back with you once we've got enough of the other bee spawn eggs to craft ourselves the time bees. And just like that, thank God, the bees are done. What a process that was. We can now start to make our very first time bees. And now that we have all the time bees, I've gone ahead and labelled all of the bees that we've made, that we've kept some aside, haven't we? We've kept Skulk, Eclipse, and Celeste Gem. We've got the Echo in, which will be Skulk. Got the Eclipse alloy, and we've got the Celeste Gem with the Time Crystal as well, signifying what ones we're going to be automating. But the main one is getting this thing automated, the Time Bee. So we're going to have to spawn them in, and we're going to have to pick them up. Hopefully they don't disappear. Oh, they are so small. Are they? They're adults as well. Right, okay. We might have to do a little bit of tweaking on these, because obviously we want high productivity on them. We can do that. The way we do apply genes is we take the eggs out, we put our genes at the bottom there, and we put our bees over here. And they now have high productivity, which is good. And that right there is all the bees that we're going to need. And we can put our gene samples back inside of the gene index. So I've already gone ahead and placed in the productivity omega upgrade in there, so we're not to lose these bees. And what I have gone and done is place down the feeding slab, a heated centrifuge for the blocks, and the modular routers with no upgrades in at this moment. I've also gone ahead and placed a jumbo tank with an end tank going back to to our main ME system, because we want to be able to store the time fluid inside of our ME system if possible. So, of course, with these bees, we need them to pollinate. Now, what do they pollinate on? And that would be a time crystal block. Now, we can make those. That's not a problem. Time crystal block. We only need one of these. We've put that in there. We can then interact with this. Put all of our bees in. I'm going to pull from there and go into you, and then whitelist the pollen in this one, the other one that we've got, because that wants to go straight into there. We then also need to whitelist the honeycomb in this one, which we're kindly waiting on from these bees. But while we wait for that, what we can do is we can set up the fluid. So with the fluid modules, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want it to pull the liquid from the heated centrifuge. That's where it's going to get the liquid, and it's going to go into the side here. We then want to make sure it's pulling into the router, which it is, always is off the start. We then put it inside the modular router with a bucket in the buffer, because we need a way of picking up that liquid. And then here, what we're going to want to do is we want to transfer out of the router, and we want to send that into this jumbo tank. And that completes the liquids. Now, we should have some honey blocks, some honey time comb blocks ready for us to whitelist and put into here. Because then that's our next modular router all set up. We'll then start getting some time fluid with the time crystals. We take them out because we want to then go and grab one of our pullers and senders. A puller we want to whitelist as the time crystal, and that's going to pull from you, and we want to send that into our end chest right down there. And we don't want to put it in this one, we want to put it into the one next to it, the one that's empty, because we don't want to start overlapping on this. And that will start taking out the time crystals, putting it into our system. This is getting our time fluid. The only thing that's left to do with this now is to, one, get rid of those, put these in there, and we get some speed upgrades for that. We get speed and stack upgrades in absolutely everything. Okay, so with that working, I've never actually used liquids with applied energistics before. So what I've gone ahead and done beforehand is obviously made a couple of ender tanks. Now, this other ender tank at our system, which is with the other ender chest, has an importer on it. I don't know if that's going to work, and it's all got the same color coding and stuff. So I don't know if that's going to work. So we're going to have to just send it and see what happens. But I am going to use a pipe just for quick transfer because it is a little slow using the modular routers. I have tried to speed it up. It'll do for getting the liquids out of the heated centrifuge, but when it comes to getting the liquids out of here, it's probably just going to be easier and quicker with a pipe. Plus, we'll never see it anyway. So, there are buckets in there. Do we have time fluid in here? We do. We have 34 buckets. Lovely. Can I now just go? I can. I can just fill it up from the applied energistics. That is exactly what we want. But unfortunately, that's where we're going to have to leave today's episode because we have run out of time. I don't want this episode being too long and we're already over the 15-minute mark. So I was going to design the room today, but that's most likely going to happen in the next episode now. So thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button. If you have learned something, let me know down in the comments below. If you want to learn anything else to do with productive bees, how to get a specific bee, let me know down in the comments as well. But I will see you all again very, very soon. Goodbye.